Good morning, students. Welcome back to your online classes. Today we are going to study English New Voices. And in English New Voices, we are going to study our new chapter, which is chapter number 12, Whale in the Sky. What is the name of the chapter? It's chapter number 12, Whale in the Sky. So, I'm going to ask you one thing, that do you ever see the sky and the clouds with the images of the different animals or something else? Do you? Yes, everybody has seen the images on the cloud of the different kinds of animals, because the clouds have the different shapes and sizes. If you don't, so sit on your top roofs or the terrace of your houses and see the clouds in the daytime and try to find the shapes of the clouds of the different animals. Okay? And just mention or write down somewhere or in the rough notebook that which animals do you see in the sky. Okay, so this is the relevant chapter of shapes of the cloud which is seen in the sky. So that is why its name is Whale in the Sky. So let us start our chapter. Dadu and Muznaha love watching clouds. Basically, there are the two characters. One is Dadu, like you all have the grandparents. So here is a boy Muzna, whose grandfather is his Dadu. He calls his Dadu as his grandfather. And here the two characters, which are the Dadu and the Muznaha. Basically, they were sitting somewhere and watching the clouds. And what they are doing? They are playing and sharing some information with each other. Like, see, I'm reading first. I'm going to read first and then I'll explain the chapter. See, Dadu and Muznaha love watching clouds. Did you know that your name comes from the clouds? Muznaha means the cloud that carries the rain, says Dadu. I'm going to read again. Dadu and Muznaha love watching clouds. Did you know that your name comes from the clouds? Muznaha means the cloud that carries the rain, says Dadu. What does this paragraph means? This paragraph means Dadu and Muznaha, they love to watch the clouds. Okay. So, after watching that, Dadu says to Muznaha that the meaning of your name, the meaning of the name Muznaha is that the cloud, your name is derived from the clouds, that the clouds that carries the rain. Those clouds that carries the rain, that's meaning the Muznaha. Muznaha is the name which derives from the clouds, which means that the clouds that carries the rain. Who says this? Dadu says this to Muznaha. Okay. Now the next paragraph. There are so many shapes in the clouds. A cauliflower, a mustache, a crescent moon. Who is not a sports or dog shaped one? It has such a big nose. See, I'm going to repeat again. There are so many shapes in the clouds. A cauliflower, a mustache, a crescent moon. Who is not a sports or dog shaped one? It has such a big nose. What is the meaning of this line here? These lines tell us that they are watching the clouds and saying that there are so many shapes in the clouds, like some is cauliflower, some shapes like cauliflowers, mustache, and a crescent moon, that means a half moon. Okay, so Basically, they are saying that there is one dog. See the big nose of the dog. It has such a big nose. They are just finding the different shapes in the clouds by sitting together and watching the clouds. Okay, now this next. See that cloud there. I know of an animal that looks like it, says Dadu. I'm repeating again. See that cloud there. I know of an animal that looks like it, says Dadu. Now Dadu is saying that by showing one cloud that he's saying, see that cloud there. I know of an animal. He's saying that I know which animal is this, or which animal it looks like. Who says this? Dadu says this. Really? Asks Mujna excitedly. It's called a whale and it lives in the ocean. Tell me more, says Mujna. Well, there are many kinds of whales. What is the size of this cloud makes me think of a blue whale. The blue whale is the biggest animal that has ever lived on earth. Much bigger than a dinosaur and much bigger than an elephant, says Dadu. I'm going to repeat one more time. Really? Asks Mujna excitedly. It's called a whale and it lives in the ocean. Tell me more, says Mujna. Well, there are many kinds of whales. What is the size of this cloud makes me think of a blue whale. The blue whale is the biggest animal that has ever lived on earth, much bigger than a dinosaur and much bigger than an elephant, says Dadu. What does this paragraph mean? It means that when Dadu says that I know that shape of the cloud, I know which animal this is. So excitedly Mujna asked to the Dadu that really? That means really you know this animal. So Dadu says that yes, it is called a whale. What this animal is? Whale. And whale lives in the ocean. Where does the whale lives? Whale lives in the oceans. So excitedly Mujna again says to the Dadu that tell me more. Tell me more. That means tell me more about whale. So Dadu says, well, there are many kinds of whales. There are so many kinds of whale. What is the size of this cloud makes me think of a blue whale. That means this cloud is too big. So I think this is a blue whale. Because blue whale is the biggest animal lives on the earth. That ever lived on the earth. It is much bigger. It is very much bigger than a dinosaur and very much bigger than an elephant. So it is basically the biggest animal lives on the earth and it lives in the oceans. Who is saying that? Dadu. Dadu describes the characteristics or the living of the whale to Mujna, and Mujna was very excited by hearing this. Now see the next. So big, says Mujna. It's so big that you would be able to sit inside its heart, explains Dadu. Your dog's nose is floating away, laughs Dadu. Maybe the nose doesn't like the dog anymore. Mujna giggles. Oh, it's floating towards the whale clouds. What will the whale do with the nose? Fish needs gills, not a nose to breathe underwater. What does this paragraph means? I'm going to repeat this paragraph again. See my reading again. So big, says Mujna. It's so big that you would be able to sit inside its heart, explains Dadu. Your dog's nose is floating away, laughs Dadu. Maybe the nose doesn't like the dog anymore. Mujna giggles. Oh, it's floating towards the whale clouds. What will the whale do with the nose? Fish need gills, not a nose to breathe underwater. What happened? Who is saying that? Mujna is saying that about the whale that it's so big. So Dadu explained that yes, it is so big that you can sit inside its heart. That means it's too big that if you can go inside it, so you can sit in its heart. And they come back, Dadu come back to its old cloud, which was the dog. He's saying that your dog's nose is floating away. That means it is separating from the dog. After hearing this, the Dadu laughs so much. After saying this, Dadu laughs so much. So yeah, what did Muzna say? Muzna says that maybe the dog doesn't like his nose and he giggles so much. That means he laughs so much. Oh, it's floating. Oh, it's floating towards the veil clouds. That means he's saying that after giggling, he's saying that the nose of that dog cloud is floating towards the veil cloud. What will the whale do with the nose? Fish needs gills, not a nose to breathe underwater. Who is saying that? Dadu says that. What will the whale do with the nose? Because whale doesn't breathe through the nose. Whale doesn't have any nose. They breathe through their gills. Next is, that is true for a fish. But the blue whale, not a fish. It breathes air and so it has a nose, says Dadu. Muzna says that fishes breathe through the gills. But Dadu corrects him and says that is true for all the fish. But blue whale is not a fish. She have a nose to breathe and breathe air. So she is not belongs from the fish category. Who is saying that? Says Dadu. Now see the next. It must have the biggest nose in the world. How does it breathe air if it lives underwater? Who is saying that? This question is asking by the Muzna that it must have the biggest nose in the world. That if it is the biggest animal in the world, the blue whale is the biggest animal in the world, so it has the biggest nose also in the world. How does it breathe air if it is if it lives underwater? If it lives underwater, then that's a good question from the Muznaf to Dadu, that how will she breathe underwater? Because no one can breathe underwater through the nose. So now Dadu explains to him. Listen to it very carefully. Whales are very special, explains Dadu. They breathe at the surface. Oh, so they swim in backstroke? Muzna asks. You have a vivid imagination. Muzna laughs Dadu. The whale has a nose on its back. What did Dadu explains to Muzna after listening his question, that whales are very special. They breathe at the surface. When they go on the surface, then they breathe. When they come on the surface, then they breathe. Then Muzna asks, oh, so they swim in backstroke. That means they swim from his back portion. That is why only he can breathe. So Dadu laughs and says that you have a very different imaginations, very unique imaginations. So he corrects him. Dadu corrects Muznaha that the whale has a nose on its back. Basically, the whale have the nose on its back. Now see the next. In fact, says Dadu, the sound of the whale breathing can be heard from far, far away. The whale takes a breath, goes underwater, comes out of the water again and goes puff. Each breath creates a fountain on top of the whale's nose. One more time I am going to repeat. Listen to me carefully. In fact, says Dadu, the sound of a whale breathing can be heard from far, far away. The whale takes a breath, goes underwater, comes out of the water again and goes puff. Each breath creates a fountain on top of the whale's nose. What does it mean? It means that Dadu says that the breathing sound of the whale is too loud that you can hear it from a very distant place, and the whale takes a breath, goes underwater. When it takes breath and they will go underwater and then comes out of the water again and goes and sounds puff. Then every breath of the whale creates a small fountain on its back. Okay, whenever the whale breathes, it makes a fountain on its back. Now see the next para. Muznaha gazes at the whale cloud. The whale with the nose on its back is moving towards us, Dadu. She lies on her back, her arms tucked in like fins. Muznaha gazes at the whale cloud. That means he stares at the whale cloud very carefully. The whale with the nose on its back is moving towards us. Dadu. He's saying to the Dadu that the whale cloud is moving toward us. She lies on her back. He's saying that she lies on the back and her arms tucked in like fins. Now see the next. Waving her arms, Muznaha shouts, I am a whale too. Puff. Hello, whales. Here, at the last, they are playing and says that by waving her arms, he's playing and shouts loudly that I am a whale too. Puff. Hello, whales. So, they are playing and they went to play and enjoys very much. So this is the whole story of a boy Muznaha and his grandparent. He calls his grandfather that Dadu. So they are playing together and also learning different things. Dadu tells him different things and Muznaha learns so much from his Dadu about different kinds of animals and different types of things. So you also sit with your grandparents and play like this and take some knowledge from them. Okay? Thank you so much. Stay well, study well at your home. I'm hoping that this chapter is very much clear to you.